Alright, I'm hoping my son can stay quiet through this whole engagement, but I don't know for sure. So if that happens or not, I'm not going to be entirely sure. I'm just going to go with it. So before YouTube says anything, yes, I am in a safe, controlled environment. And yes, all of my weapons are now unloaded. There's money on the floor. I can't miss that. I have money on the floor. I just dropped a bullet on my foot. Anyways. So today's video is gonna be my response video to Eyes and Ears Tactical 5 pew-pews that every law-abiding citizen should have. Now this is going to be from my practical standpoint, with me being a practical civilian, so just a normal law-abiding civilian, and a couple things that I think everybody should keep in mind. Your context matters, like where you're going to be shooting very much so matters, and then how many people that you possibly have to engage, that matters, as well as your environment. So your ranges, as well as like the brush of the area that you're engaging in, possible distances is very important. So keeping that in mind, one thing that I think everybody should own, and these are technically firearms, is one AR. Now, when I say AR, what I mean by that, and I'll get into this a little bit later down the line, but when I say one AR, I mean one of these at least. So basically what this is the firearm in the eyes of the government. So I believe everybody should own one of these. This is an 80%. This is an unfinished one. We'll get into that a little bit later when we start getting into the pistols, but I believe everybody should own one of these. Now, why do I think that? Now, I could always say like you should own this AR, you know, Anderson, VCM, whatever. But when I say that you should own an AR, I mean that get you a lower and have multiple uppers for that lower. You're only one person. And you know, what I tend to do is I'll build one project, and then I'll have a whole bunch of them that I continue to do down the line. So I'll have one completed lower with a whole bunch of completed uppers. And then I'll swap them out and find the best combination that works, and then I'll have different uppers for different contexts. For instance, I have one lower or I have one upper, sorry, get it real quick. I have one, this is my 7.5 inch that I have. Basically, I'm gonna put a red dot on it soon, don't worry. This is gonna be my no brace build, so I'm gonna use that for CQB and 1-point slings, and I'm gonna have that basically if I ever have to engage and I have to like go, you know, tuck it in a jacket or something like Secret Service. I'm gonna do some drills with that in the future videos, so stay tuned for that. But that's gonna be like a smaller build, and you know, all I have to do for that lower is swap out the upper, pop them 2 pins, you know, and then I can have something like this baby right here. You know, all I gotta do, pop them 2 pins, boom, boom, you know, and we're good to go. I'm not gonna do it on camera, but at least all I gotta do is pop them 2 pins, bang. And I'm also not trying to lose this sling because it took me a minute to get that right. But yeah, this lower part is the important part. So I would say get you one of those, if not multiple of those, and then build out your rifles as such. Now, that being said, the best type of rifle that I would suggest is a general purpose rifle, or a GPR. Now, I'm going to be building out at least 2 different types. I'm going to be building out a GPR. It's right here. I got a video on this as well on my channel. Go look at that. It's PSA Jackal GPR, as well as a DMR. I've decided that DMRs are, even though they're usually in about 308 or like 6.5 arc or whatever, I figure because I can be so accurate with my 5.56 that I have, I'm going to be testing the types that I have. I have the AAC Sierra Match King, as well as the 75 grain. I have the 75 grain black tip saber that I'm going to be testing as well. I have a whole bunch of different ammo types that I'm going to be testing for the 5.56 for my DMR once I get it built out. But the DMR can kind of sort of be a GPR, but I wouldn't designate it to be like a dedicated GPR. Why do I say that? Because my DMR is going to have a 6x scope on it instead of just a 3x prism and a top mounted red dot. It is going to have a top mounted red dot. That's why I say it can kind of go close, or you can have like canted iron sights so that you can just turn the gun. So you can just go from this, boom, and then turn it, and you can, or just have a laser like I do. Either way, I designate my rifles for different purposes. This is a general purpose, so I can go really close with this or up to about 400 yards with this. That's why this isn't a DNR, designated marksman rifle. This is a general purpose rifle. I can do just about anything with this. Is like the jack of all trades. Okay, that's why I said, practically speaking, you should buy multiple lowers, but the one platform that I would definitely recommend you get is an AR. So that's AR-15, boom. You can do a whole bunch with that. You can build out bufferless. You can build out, like I said, I'm building out the like a PDW kind of, no, not a PDW. It kind of be, yeah, I guess PDW, personal defense weapon. And it's going to be designated more or less like that as well. So you can build out a whole bunch of different stuff. You can have like 20 inchers all the way up to like a 4-inch 300 blackout or something like that, if that's your cup of tea, and all can be done with the same one lower. Now let's move up a little bit. So we're gonna go from this little bad boy, which is the 23556. This is an assault bullet. You didn't know that. It's an assault bullet. And then we're gonna go to this his older brother, his older, bigger, badder brother, because sometimes you need to reach out and touch something a little bit further. So same principle applies. We're gonna move on to the Jackal. No, I'm just playing. We're gonna move on to the 308, and I chose this because I think that everyone should have at least one 308, just because it is very proficient at shooting, and it's been very good at eliminating targets out to a decent distance, out to 400 plus, sometimes up to 1,000 plus, and with the AR, but the bullet being so little, even if you do get the I would say the connection out that far, you're missing the terminal ballistics and knockdown power and the speed and the force and the punch. It's just, you might hit them, and it's just not going to be deadly out to that far. So you have to do something for distance. That's why we recommend the 308. The AR, I would say, is good up to, my opinion, it can be up to about 700-800, unless you have, like I said, a designated marksman rifle, a designated rifle that's going to be designated to push out that far. But even still, you're not going to have the terminal ballistics and the force on target, the punching power. I'm trying to think of the word, I can't think of it right now, that the 308 has, because it has that weight and that speed, velocity, all of that behind it. So out to distance, boom, but it can still get up close. They still have deer hunting rounds that you can get. They still have self-defense rounds that you can get, and I'm going to be talking about this a little bit in the next one, but not really. The 308, in my opinion, has the most versatility out of any of these calibers. It has the most offerings out of any other caliber. Last time I checked, it was about 206 different types, not like different companies and different grain weights, like different types of bullets, which is like, that's a lot. So that's why I'm definitely investing in the platform. Don't have one to show right now because I'm still waiting on PSA to drop their 308 Jackal. As soon as that drops, just wait and see, y'all. Just wait and see. That's all I can say. Just wait and see. So no shotgun. Why am I against the shotgun? Why do you hate the shotgun? I don't. I love shotguns. I've shot a few. I'm purchasing one soon. but as of this moment, I can't recommend it because I don't have enough time behind it. But if that's your interest, if you think that you are very versatile with it, if you think that you are very well versed in it, you can train with it very well, and your environment permits. Because I mean, I'm gonna say this, these two that I just talked about, the AR is like very ideal to me for personal defense because it like almost always breaks up in drywall. The 308 not so much, but that's not really what it's designed for. It's not designed for like up close encounters, obviously, because it's pushing with so much weight behind the bullet. Kind of the same with the AK, but the AK is known to like tumble as if it hits something. Like yaw, pitch and yaw is what they say, pitch and yaw. But the shotgun rounds, basically, especially the really good ones, the slugs, it's basically a ball of metal that's gonna take off a damn limb. So you know, they have some very versatile shotgun rounds as well, but with me not having enough trigger time behind them, I can't recommend them on my top 5. I might do an updated once I get all of my builds created. I have a lot of, like, as you can see, I got like, let me see if I can show you. All of these are like builds that I'm working on currently. I'm a visual person. If I don't see it, I'm not gonna finish it. That being said, let's move on to the good stuff, in my opinion. Good stuff. So no shotgun. But what we do recommend, what I am gonna recommend, are Glocks. Now, this goes back to what I was saying about getting in my 80%ers. All of my Glocks are 80%ers, whether they were bought and serialized or whether they don't have no serial number. Oh, hey guys, Practical Editor here. Forgot to mention in the video and didn't feel like re-recording this long ass video. So what I meant by getting 80% frames is technically you're the manufacturer, so as long as your state allows it, you can legally possess and own and make these. And if the government comes for some type of seizure of firearms, all they have is the list of the firearms that you purchased, not the ones that you built yourself. So if they said we need A, B, C, and D, your manufactured firearms aren't going to be on there because technically there's no proof that you completed them, or if they're still in their dormant 80% state. Even still, they can't really make them illegal. It's being fought in the Supreme Court right now, and it's probably not going to go anywhere just because it's been legal to make your own firearms since the beginning of time. So that being said, if there is some type of confiscation or something like that, that's why I mentioned the government isn't coming for me. They will have a list of the guns that I legally bought and possessed from the firing range or that I got transferred from an FFL. You don't have to transfer these from an FFL because you're the manufacturer. You don't have to transfer them to yourself. If de facto, if confiscation happens, I'm good. Get you an 80% just to have that fail safe in case of a confiscation. All right, back to the video. You know, they may or may not. Who knows? The government ain't coming to get me. But I think law-abiding citizens need to learn how to build their own firearms. I think that's something that everybody should learn how to do, especially if you're going to be using the system, because one thing I learned, well, a couple things that I learned while building the platforms, I learned the internals, learned how to clean and lubricate it very well. And when something went wrong, I learned what was wrong with it. I immediately knew, and maybe that's just my engineer's brain, but I automatically knew, like, oh man, that's the spring, or that's the extractor not having enough tension, or that's the magazine failure. I instantly knew as soon as a problem happened and I seen the failure, where the failure point was and how to fix it. And that's one thing that you learn with P80s. You learn how to diagnose problems very well and how to fix them. That way, when you go to a platform that does run and then you have an occasional failure, you be like, man, this is nothing, you know, because I didn't ran P80s for I don't know how long and they didn't ran real well. So, you know, that's just, you know, my opinion. But I've always said that if you're going to go Glock, get a couple. Don't just get one. I can't, like, I hate when people say, like, oh, I'm going to get just the 19 or what's a good size for me. Go to the range, get your hands on Like a lot of ranges, they'll let you rent something before you buy it, like, and put like 5 rounds through it. That's what I did before I bought almost all of my firearms. I rented them and actually felt them in my hand in person. Like, you know, somebody can say online, this is the perfect gun for you and this is what you need, and this is 9 times out of 10 they're getting paid by that company to say that, and they're probably making money off of the sales. So go to the range, get your hands on, feel it, shoot it, see how it feels, and make your decision from there. I always say that. I always say don't just buy something because it looks cool or because you heard a million good reviews on it. And then that's another thing. Wait for the bad reviews. So wait, I would say at least 3 months after something comes out before people actually start coming out with those real reviews. Because a lot of times I've noticed this, especially with YouTube, they'll suppress the bad reviews. And then after the product is selling or whatever, after it's reached its peak, then they'll start dropping the bad review. Like then they'll start recommending, I should say, the bad reviews, because they're definitely controlling what you see, regardless of whether you think so or not. They're definitely controlling what you see and what you don't see. They don't care about those subscribers. They're trying to push new channels on you. That's why you always be like, oh, that was a good video, but how did I get recommended this? I haven't watched nothing about this or nothing. That's what YouTube's trying to do. They're trying to get you to watch new stuff. Anyways, I digress. So get your hands on before you shoot something, because Glock definitely has a lot of offerings from the 17, the 45, the 22s, the 44s, the 19, 17s, 26s, whatever. Whether it be something like small as this, no dot, just straight irons, 26, something like this, or just a regular 19 PSA dagger clone like this, irons front, hollow sun, you know, something simple like that, or something complicated like this custom, you know, P80 that I did, that I'm putting the red dot on top, compensated, very big compensator, with strike bags that got the pocket clip in them, you know, something like that. Highly recommend building your own rather than buying, but that's just me. You know, if you're not in a permissive state or whatever, I understand. I can see that you can't just do what us freebies can do over on this side of the world in Ohio. So, you know, in the wise words of somebody, it be like that sometimes, you know what I mean? So definitely recommend getting your hands on a Glock, the Glock platform. It's got that reliability, it's got that time behind it, it's definitely got that use of force behind it as well, and people have practiced with it, and you know, you're gonna find a lot of videos and a lot of aftermarket parts for it as well. So that's something that's definitely gonna happen. Sorry, my son was making random noises. Anyway, so last but not least, so we got AR 308, Glock 1911s. Oh wait, that's what I'm talking about now. Let's get to it. So, bam! This is like my baby right here. Like I was saying about building, this is definitely built, not bought. People always say, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? I'm like, I can give you a parts list, but I done made parts lists and they didn't restrict in my videos. So, you know, can't really do that no more. But this is just a commander size, which is like equivalent to the Glock 19 commander size right there. I don't know, don't listen to me. I don't know why I be doing stuff that's just stupid. But these are really nice. I like that you can add the thumb ledge out of the box to help accommodate that thumb, help mitigate that recoil, gives you an extra ledge to push down when you're shooting. I also like that the EPS carry, you can get most 1911s cut for them for a direct mount, so you don't have to mount a plate to a plate. That's one bad thing about the MOS system for the Glock. You have to mount a plate to a plate. So you mounting the plate to the cut, and then you're mounting the red dot to the plate. So 4 screws instead of 2. Plus it's not a direct mount, and these you can have recoil bosses actually built into the slide, so it's not, you know, the screws aren't going to shear off. Well, they shouldn't, at least. Mine haven't. I'm sub 4,000 rounds into it, and my witness marks are literally the same as the day that I installed this thing. Once I torqued it down, I was good. I was Gucci, my guy. Okay. Whether it's something like that or something like this, I've been arguing with myself whether the 1911 platform is just as modular or more modular than the Glock. I think it is more modular just based on the sheer number of parts that it uses, and how many people now have adopted it. Like, there's so many more 1911s and 2011s than there were, double stack 1911s I should say, than there were like a year ago. I think the Prodigy really hit it off, but what really started it all was the STI. Let's give credit where credit is due. And this thing, man, you can tell I've been shooting that thing. I got compensator dirt all the way back here because the comp goes like backwards. I don't know why, but yeah, whether it's something like this Big Daddy Kane thing that I would probably put in like a holster like this with mags on the other side, with a suit on, or something like this that you can conceal carry and put in a holster like that and tuck in your waist. Once I get my Enigma, my Filster Enigma, I'm gonna be doing a video on that as well, with the belly band and stuff. But this is the Floodlight, Filster Floodlight, and you can see that holster is really tight, but when I go to draw, it's really quite snug. I like that fitment. Anyways, I digress. 1911s are good to have because of the parts availability, the research behind them, also the tunability. Like Glocks, you just throw the parts in there, boom, and you're almost done almost all the time, right? You're not going to really need to adjust the spring in a Glock, but 1911s, you can actually get it so that the recoil, and if I'm doing a video on this probably in my next range trip, when you're shooting and you go back, you actually look at the recoil and you're like dipping down when you come back, when the slide comes back, so it's like boom and then boom. 1911s, you can get it so that the slide basically returns to zero, like returns to center, so it's just boom, 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 boom. And with the right recoil springs and the right guide rod in there, man, the 1911 can be a sewing machine. Now, you can make that like that. Really, if you're making it, you can make it like that out of the box. But like I said, 1911s require more maintenance, require more, tunability. They don't require more tunability. They are more tunable, because stuff like this, you get one guide rod, you get that OEM, and you're straight. If you're not adding a compensator really to a Glock, then it's not as really customizable. If you're not adding a compensator or nothing like that, you can add like, a tungsten guide rod or something like that. But 1911s, you can go from like an 8 pound, 9 pound, 10 pound, 11 pound, 12, and then you can feel whichever one cycles for you and for your ammo, and which one has the best recoil impulse for you and your hand as well. So definitely more tunable. Somebody's probably going to correct me, like my custom Glock 19 I've been running for 600 years in competitions, never failed me once. I ain't never put no oil, I just spit in it sometimes. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever you say. But I'm not dissing Glock. I'm saying that the 1911 is just more customizable in that way as well. And I'm gonna say this just because I'm still on 1911s. I am ranting a little bit, but it is relevant. 1911s also, you can have metal polymer, or you can have, they also have carbon fiber grips now. So carbon fiber, metal. So, very customizable. And then another thing is, once you get the barrels fit, like you can throw in longer barrels. If you don't even want like a longer slide frame, you can throw in a shorter slide, comp the front, compensate this front side, throw the sight a little back, boom, you could do that. Or you can have like a longer frame or shorter frame and then have longer slide, so it's very customizable in that aspect, as you don't really need a whole bunch of work to really make it look like how you want it to look, I guess you could say. But the custom work definitely does cost more with the 1911 than the Glocks. I will say that's another downside, but this isn't a pros and cons. This is 5 guns that I recommend, more like 5 gun platforms that I recommend. So we went over ARs, we went over 308, we went over Glocks P80s, we went over 1911 2011s, 80%ers. What's my last recommendation? Now this was a tough one for me because there's so many good platforms that I could recommend, so many good alternatives, and different style of pew-pews that I like and am a fan of. But you really can't go wrong unless you got old reliable. Now what the heck is this? Oops, that's loaded. I think that's not loaded. I think that's loaded. You really can't go wrong unless you got old reliable. This is my AK pistols, but more specifically Impact 92 before it was ZPAP 92 from Serbia. The AK pistol platform have served me very, very well, especially with my upgrades that I have on it. I got the tunable gas, K&S tunable gas piston in there, binary trigger, foldable pistol brace. Now with this folded, it can be very compact with the same capacity, if not more, than my AR. Now I'm just a fan of this really because of the reliability more than anything. It's not like a super accurate gun. It's not gonna shoot a fly's wing off at 500 yards or nothing like that, but it does get the job done. And with it having the punching power, the knockdown power that the 7.62x39 round has, I'm just a fan of it. And not only that, but the platform runs. It might run a little hot. That's why I got this this heat shield on there. It does get a little toasty, but it does run nonetheless. Haven't had any problems that I can really think of other than when I was adjusting the gas. I've had a couple magazine problems, but that's just because it's not like the AR. All magazines aren't built the same in this platform. Mounted this red dot a while ago. Glad that I did. Got a whole bunch of upgrades in this. I've went over this. I have a whole AK series if you want to check that out. But man, I'm just a fan of this platform. I can't say enough good things about specifically this AK, if not all AKs. Now, granted, all AKs are not made the same. And some AKs are a little bit bougier than others that are made nowadays. Some prefer brass over steel, but mines can run steel and brass. Like, they say if it doesn't run steel or it doesn't run brass, it doesn't deserve steel. Quite the contrary. I think they were designed to run brass. AK designs, they didn't have a brass case in mind when they designed the damn AK. They were thinking, we can make this out of a damn shovel, which I've seen done before. We can make this out of a shovel if we need to. So that's what the design was. It was made for poors. Like, let's be honest, it was made for people, who were poor enough, too poor to buy their own weapon to go into war with. So, that's me. This is all my options are really budget friendly. I'm not out here saying you should go buy a $4,000 SCAR or a $3,000 SIG and PX, or go buy an ACR, or go buy an LMT, whatever. All of my options are practical, hence the name Practical Civilian. I give you stuff that's kind of affordable, not too much, but sometimes I give you like some decent upgrades. For instance, this trigger was $500 when I first got it. $499 from Franklin Armory. And some would say that, why buy a trigger that costs almost as much as the gun? Well, because it's fun. Shooting binary is freaking fun, man. I don't care what nobody says. They like, oh, it's stupid, I can't get used to it. It's fun for me. I mean, I wish that ammo didn't cost so much now, because now it's like every time I'm shooting like $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, I'm poor, but it's fun. It's fun to do. And not only that, I still have semi, so I can still do semi and binary on this specific one, and it's ambi. Got a video about that, already on my channel, so check that out if you want to get used to that. But I'm gonna be testing this boy out a little bit more with all the upgrades and stuff I got. But the most important thing that I got on this thing is my American flag. Bam. Oh wait, it's upside down. There we go. I have no sense. But let me know what y'all think. I recommend everybody get at least one AR lower, one 308 lower, one Glock, one 1911, one AK. And I we'll probably be making an updated video with, I would say, 5 new guns that I recommend, because I'm getting a SIG soon. Like I said, I'm getting a shotgun, and you know, more platforms will be hitting my table for sure that I'll be having more versatile experience with. I can run them through the paces, and I can actually say, oh yeah, I do recommend this. But for now, end of the world, SHTF, whatever, preparations, I would say get you as much of what you like as possible. I'm not gonna say you need to buy a Glock 19, you need to buy this AK, you need to buy that, you buy what you like, what feels good to you, and go from there. That's what I'm gonna say. But if you're a law-abiding citizen and you want to take my recommendations, you know what I mean, be practical about it. It's Practical Civilian. Sign it off. Peace.